Hello, welcome to Lazy Day Crochet. We're going to go over some basic crochet stitches that you'll do in my patterns or any patterns that you crochet with. We're going to go all the way from chain stitches to trebles to help anyone who is beginner level to help understand like the anatomy of the stitch. So we're going to get our yarn on our hook so we can get started. There are tons of ways you can do that. I explain my way, the way I do it, at the beginning of my videos. But you do it however it makes you feel comfortable. Alright, so chain stitch. It is the essential foundation basic of anything that you're trying to do in crochet. The only thing that's different would be if you're starting with a magic ring. Alright, so you're going to yarn over and through, yarn over and through, yarn over and through. We have 3 on our hook, 4, 5. I'm going to show you just basic. 6, 7. You never count the one that's actually the yarn that's on your hook. That is not a stitch. And also, if you take a break or your hook falls out or whatever, you get confused, you want to look at the pattern to notice that you need those loops, these loops right here, facing you. Alright, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now, if you ever want to know how much tension you should actually be putting on the yarn, like, you know, because you don't want to strangle the yarn so it's hard to even like get it into the stitch, but you also don't want it so loose that you're making these big bulky extra yarn loops in your projects. Every hook has it where it narrows down, but right here at the neck, or the body of it, is the thickness that's needed to be able to, or the size of the loop. It has the size of the loop needed to get over the head of the crochet needle. So what I mean by that is, if you just tighten your yarn up to the size of this body of the needle, right? So it can move. Don't over tighten it. Don't make it super loose. You just make it where it can slide back and forth, move around, right? But there's no extra spaces, no extra gaps. Without yanking down on the yarn, it's going to remain the size that you need it to go over the head of your crochet needle, so you'll have a pretty stitch. I always will bring my yarn down here because it sizes it for me for the hook that I need. If you're needing smaller stitches, you don't make your stitches tighter, you just go down a smaller hook size, because it will keep the hook size that you need. So this is a 5 gauge or 5 millimeter, and this is a 4 millimeter. So if your sizes are too big, if your crochet stitches are too big, go down a hook size. Let's see where we are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. All right, so we got 10. All right, so now we're going to be working the chain. I'm going to work in the chain. Rarely ever, I've never seen anybody ever work into this first stitch. You always work into this first stitch. So not this one, but this one. When they say skip one chain, you're doing a single crochet stitch. If you're going to crochet from the front, you skip this chain, and you want to go in through this middle and this top between this bottom. So this bottom is the only one on the bottom. The other two parts of the stitch are on top. You single crochet that in. Let's do it again. So this is the next stitch. This right here is the back end of the stitch we just used. So you're not going to go into here. This is part of this. This is the next stitch because you have your top stitch and your bottom stitch. We're going to go in here. This is the back stitch. So these are your two top. This is the top. That's the middle stitch that needs to go on top. And then this is your bottom stitch that's by itself. All right, single crochet. We're going to yarn over. You pull through. You have 2 loops on the hook. Yarn over, pull through both loops. That is a single crochet. So this is the stitch we just crocheted in. This will be the next stitch we crochet in. This is the bottom, there's the top. So we're going to go in, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through both. That is the single crochet. Now you can also use from your chain the back loops on the back of the chain if you want to. I always fight with it because it's not as easy for me to get into those. But the reason why people will do it this way is because it makes the bottom edge, if you don't put borders on, very nice. All right, so we got it through the loop. We pulled it through. Now pull through both loops. and that's the bottom. So instead of having one single yarn, you have two on the bottom. Let me show you again. There's the loop. Go in, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through both loops. In, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through both loops. Okay, now so these first three are the ones that I did from the side. So I did the 2 loops on the top and the 1 loop on the bottom, and I went through there and then did the single crochet. It has that one loop still on the bottom. On these next 3, I did it through the back loop or the hump on the bottom, on the underneath side of the chain, which are these loops right there. And that left the V-stitch that is at the top of the chain as the bottom. So this gives a nice edge if you don't want to do borders. But overall, the stitch is the same. The stitch is the same. It's the only difference is what it looks like here. So if you want a nice sharp edge with this pretty V-stitch on the bottom, then use the back humps. If you're going to put a border in and you just want to get through the foundation chain so you can actually get into the stitches, then you can do the standard. Now, just like our chain, when it tells you you skip the first chain and go to the second, and that's a single crochet. So on your turns, it's basically the same thing. You chain 1, turn, then you're going to do single crochets. If they want you to do a double, they will often have you chain 3, so you can have the right yarn height to do the stitch across. Okay, we're going to go back down to chain 1, turn. Now I want you to understand something about the stitches. When you go right to left, you'll start at this end, go this way. Your V's on your top crochet have the stitch coming out of the left side, right? See it out the left side, out the left side. This is the back side of the stitch where the back of the V is. Oh, I'm so sorry. So this is the back of where the V is. This is the front of where the V is. And the stitch is coming out of the front. So the very next stitch that you make, it is linked to the left side of your stitch, okay? The back end is right here. It's on the right side. So when you're crocheting, the next stitch you make will come out the left side of the stitch, and the end will be on your right. Okay, when we chain 1 and turn, this for the life of me confused me for so long, because it was never explained to me, and I guess I don't have the common sense to understand that when they say the chain 1, right, or to go into the first stitch, my mind was always like, is it through here? Is it through here? Like, I didn't understand what it was saying. And it gets worse when you do bigger stitches, half doubles and things like that. There's more of a space here where it looks like it should be the stitch. So the easiest way is to count it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now, we started with 10. We had to skip 1 stitch when we after we started our chain to start our second row. That's what I mean. So now we have 9 stitches. Okay, so we're going to maintain that 9 stitch count by going into this stitch. Now, the stitch is backwards. The stitches at the bottom, the front of the stitch is now on the right, and the back of the stitch is now on the left. So the beginning of your stitch, the front of your stitch, is to the right of the stitch. So this right here, this stitch right here is your first stitch. When you go in, remember that your stitches, that you have the V, and you need to catch all of those loops to do the whole stitch. So you're going to go in, pull up a loop, go around, go through 2. Okay? So this is the back of the second stitch. The front of the second stitch is up here. See? The front, the back. All right, so second stitch, insert, around, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. There is your single crochet, okay? When you do rows, which is going all the way across, flipping, going all the way across, flipping, you're always going to work in the stitch backwards because you have to turn it around. In both stitches, through, yarn over, pull through. Okay, let's go through this row. In the next stitch, around, pull up the loop, in the stitch, pull up the loop, yarn over, pull through both stitches. In the stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through both. Here's our last stitch. Now we're going to have 9 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now our stitches are back to where they should be, the direction that we know them to be, and that is the way that you crochet them. You will always crochet them, well, unless you're left-handed. You will crochet them as a right-handed crocheter with the stitch coming out of the left side of each stitch. All right, so we're going to turn again. Here we are, the stitches are all backwards again. All right, now I'm going to show you a stitch called an extended single crochet. An extended single crochet is a stitch that can make a single crochet a little thicker looking. I mean, I'll show you. So we're going to do exactly like we do to start the single crochet. So we're going to go in, we're going to pull through the loop, we're going to stop. Now this is where it's different. You're going to yarn over, pull through the first loop only, yarn over, pull through both loops. Okay, this is a good stitch for when I do the pictures. What's it called? I don't remember. Help me out. Anyway, if you want your single stitches to be thicker so it's harder to see through, this is a good stitch for that. It takes extra yarn, of course. Let's do another one. We're going to go into the stitch, make sure you get both stitches, pull up a loop. You have 2 loops on your hook, okay? You're going to yarn over, go through the first stitch only, go back, yarn over, pull through both. Still a single crochet. Here's the back side. Looks a little different, right? But it just makes the stitch a little thicker. Most of the time it's used for when, like, you need to do a quick color change. You want to make sure you lock it in there. I think there's a video that a gal did about locking and dropping or something. Anyway, there's some other videos about how to do this extended single crochet. So you bring up the loop. Instead of looping around and going through, you bring your color change in. You pull it through the first loop. You grab just your new color, yarn over, pull through both. You're going to pull the green, you pull the purple, And here, when you're here at this point, if you pull this purple, it ain't coming out. It's just, it is already like stuck in there. It isn't coming out. And then you would just keep going. So you would insert, yarn over, pull through both. Insert, pull through, yarn over, pull through both. See? But it completely locks that color in there. There ain't no moving it. It's not coming out. And that's why that extended crochet, like that's a good place to put it in. All right. Now, so we've done the single. Now let's do the half double. The half double is a single, essentially, but you yarn over first. So you yarn over in the stitch, pull through. Now you have 3 loops on your hook because you did the yarn over first. Yarn over, you pull through all 3. And it's gonna look like a backwards E. If any of these are pulled too tight, it's not gonna look like this. It will be strangled. Let me see if I can. See how it doesn't? No. I guess I don't know how to do it wrong. Like I used to. So you yarn over, insert, pull up a loop. You have 3 loops. Pull up a loop, pull through all 3. That is your half double crochet. So it's just a single crochet with your loop over first. That's it. There's no extra movements. It's the same thing, you just loop over first. Okay. Here's our last stitch. All right. Now let's work on a double crochet. So like I said, you would chain 3 to do a double turn. Okay. Now a double crochet, you loop over, right? You go in to the stitch, draw up a loop, loop over, draw through 2. You still have 2 loops on your hook. Draw over, pull through the last 2. This stitch is like doing 2 single crochets in a row, but you loop over first. All right, so you loop over in the stitch, draw up a loop, loop over, pull through 2. This is your single, that's your single. Then together makes a double crochet. You want to make sure that you want your stitches as even as you can get them to be. If you're pulling up too much here, your stitch is longer than the stitch before it. See that? And everybody wants, I mean, like, everybody wants that nice, even, straight, flat stitches, right? But again, if you use this post to help you guide your stitch size, it will help you learn what the tension is, and how, if you're over tightening your yarn. See, just push it all the way back. All the way back. All the way back. And then when you just pull it forward, it is the size you need it to be to get the hook through. Okay, so let's go through and finish this row with a double crochet across. There we go. Double crochets all the way across. All right. Now let's do the treble. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Turn. Treble. A double treble. I'm sorry. A treble crochet is basically 2 doubles, okay? So you're going to go wrap 2 around, go into the stitch, pull up a loop. You have 1, 2, 3, 4 stitches on your hook. You're going to yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So you've pulled through 3 times. Let's do it again. 2 wraps around the hook, in the stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Now, nobody told me this, and I don't know if it's an actual part of the instruction or not, but let me tell you what helps me. When you go into your stitch and pull through, I grab that yarn and that stitch. So no yarn can come out and adjust the size of my loops here. So when I go over, I pull through 2. These don't get bigger. I've still got to hold down here. Yarn over, pull through 2. These did not get bigger. They're still the same size on the hook, and I still have a hold down here. yarn over, pull through 2, then I let go. If that helps me to get smooth, even stitches without making these top loops like huge. Let me show you. All right, so two around in the stitch. Okay, now I'm not going to hang on to it this time. We're going to yarn over through 2, through 2, through 2. It wasn't horrible, but it is a little bigger than my other stitches here, it looks like. More gap, do you see? These work much closer than this one. Sometimes you can just be whipping these stitches through and you end up with these humongous holes. And this isn't, I mean, you don't want that. You don't want this huge space, huge gaps between your stitches. Do you see? You want them to sit nice and even and orderly, not all jumbled, not jumbled, but just doing their own thing. These two are doing their own thing. See the gaps? You know what? I'm going to leave them in so you can see the difference. All right, so we're going to go 2. This time I'm going to hold it. 2. I'm going to hold it. I pinch it right there, right at the bottom, to catch this yarn to keep it from moving. Do you see? These are going to stay the same size on the hook. There's 1, pull through 2, pull through 3. Pull through 1, pull through 2, pull through 3. Pardon me. Yarn over twice. Pull through 1, pull through 2, pull through 3. The absolute most difficult thing for me was just getting my stitches to be uniform. Now, you can see these are closer together. You can see, like, see when I move the yarn, these are really good staying together. And then you have these that do the wobble. You have the big lumpy stitch up here because of the excess yarn. You see? But if you hold it at that bottom of the stitch, just hold it at the bottom, it will keep your yarn from pulling and you having inconsistent sizes in your treble crochet. All right, now we're going to chain 1 and turn. Those are the stitches. So you have your beginning chain, your single crochet, your half double crochet, your double crochet, your treble crochet. So now, front and back loop Oh, yeah, we'll do front and back loops, and then we'll do post stitches, okay? So the front and back loop are all relative to where you are, okay? If it's closest to you, it's the front. If it's further away from you, it's the back, okay? I'm like, sometimes when I watch videos and they're like front and back, front, like I'm like, who, where, what? Okay, it's relative to you. If it's closest to you, it's the front. If it's further from you, it's the back. So you go in the front loop like that. Don't go this way because you twist your stitch. Okay? Don't jab it down in, because when you turn your hook around, you've twisted your stitch. You want to go from underneath, front loop only, and then do whatever it is. I'm going to do a single crochet. Okay? This right here is your back loop that you've left right here. If you look down, I'm sorry. If you look down, kind of the way the stitch should set, you're in this loop right here. Its corresponding loop is right here. Let me get my finger out the way. It's right there. That's the corresponding back loop. This, with the V still intact, is your next stitch. This V is the stitch you're working on. You're using this front loop. This back loop is sitting right there. Okay? So front loop only. See how that back loop is still there? It's right there. We're going to go around and do a single crochet. Front loop. Here's the back loop right there. We're going to go around and do a single crochet. Okay? Now, let's do the back loop. You are not going to come up this direction, because when you angle your hook to do the stitch, you're twisting your stitch. So you're going to go down into it. Front loop is up into it. Back loop is down into it. You're going to yarn over, pull through. We're still doing just single crochets. Do it again. Back loop. There's your front loop right here. Pull through. And if you over pull these stitches, I mean, you want to try not to do that. But even if you pull it a little bit, when you go to the next stitch to work in it, it will help to even that out. So it won't be this big gapping hole still. See, big hole. But when I do the next one, yep, last one. So we did front loops here and back loops here. It pulls, when you use the back loop, it obviously leaves this loop in the front. When you do front loops, it leaves this back loop in the back. These right here. These are your back loops, front loops. Okay, now we're going to go into some post stitches. The easiest way to recognize the post stitch is to look at it from the correct side. This is the front side. And here, the reason why I say that is because this is the correct facing of the single crochets we just did. So here's the back end, here's the next stitch coming out. This is the single crochet stitch. So when we're talking about posts in single crochet, it is under the V stitch, this V at the top, okay? It's not a V stitch, but it's this top V, okay, that makes the stitch. So for this to be our stitch, this is where you would normally go in to do a regular single crochet, double crochet, whatever. But we want the post. This is our post. Okay, so this is a front post, the way you would put your hook in for a front post. And this is the way you would put your hook in for a back post. So our post is in the back. That's where we would do the stitch at. It would sit on the back. On this one, on a front post, your stitch is in the front and your stitch is going to sit, your new stitch is going to sit on the front of the post, okay? But that's where the posts are. So we're going to turn it around. We're going to chain one and turn around. All right, so here's the post from the back. Here's the post from the back. This is our stitch right here. So this is the V at the top, you see? And because it's flipped around, the post is on this side under the top part of the V, okay? All right, so we're going to do some double front post stitches. So we're going to wrap around. We're going to go in, we're going to go out of the next hole, and your V is going to be on your hook. Here is the V. You see it? That's your V stitch right there. That's not the V stitch, but your V for your stitch. We're going to yarn over, pull through, pull through two, pull through 2. Let's do it again because that's an and. It's really hard to see. All right, so you're going to chain, put a loop on your hook. We're going to go in. That is the front. We're going to go in at the front of the stitch. We're going to go back through the back of the stitch, yarn over, pull out, yarn over, pull through 2, pull through 2. You can see it on this side, the back. And this is the front. Let's go down to these trebles on the next one. We're going to, we're going to loop over once. Let's do this post. This is essentially the same exact thing we're doing up here, but it's easier to see it, how you just put the loop around the post, pull up a loop, go through 2, go through 2. You see that? It just extends this post. Let's do it again. Over. We're going to go around the loop, through, pull up 2, pull up 2. There is your front loop double crochet. Now, typically when you do front loop or back loop stitches, they will have you come back here and do a single crochet because it does this separation right here. So this was the previous row and this is the new row that you're crocheting right now. You see how it's separated? So they'll usually have you come in and do a single crochet to keep it held together. Now let's do back post. So we're doing the exact same thing, the same loop over, but this time we're going around the back. There's the post, around the post, through, 2 and 2. So it looks the exact same way as the front post, but obviously it's in the back. Let's try it one more time. Loop. You're gonna take your hook all the way around, all the way around. You catch that next post. You pull that loop through and around, loop over, pull through 2, pull through 2. There it is again. Yarn over. Let's do it again. Yarn over. I'm going to turn it all the way upside down this time. Here is our post. You're going to go in and around. Grab the yarn, pull it through. Pull through 2, pull through 2. Let's do a single crochet up here. Be holding our mess together. All right. Let's do the last 2 as front posts. So because I did the single crochet here, which was the next stitch out of this last one. You know that because this is the next post. So I went to the stitch straight above it, and that is the stitch that's right next to this stitch, because it's right next to this, the post that's right next to it. Okay, so now we want to do another front post, double crochet, and then we'll finish with another single crochet in our last stitch. Okay, so yarn over, in around the stitch, pull up a loop, 3 loops on your hook, go through 2, go through 2. Let's do a regular single crochet here. I know that looks kind of crazy, and that's all right. The goal is to see the difference and learn the different stitches for front post, for back posts. Okay, for back loops or front loops, for back loops down here. All of those are different ones that you're going to use. The half double crochets right here, your double crochets, your treble crochets, and then this one is just post stitches, front posts, back posts. That's it. I hope you learned something new. I didn't understand when I first started, and for years, I would get confused when making things. Like, how do I have more stitches? Or where did those stitches go? Or, like, I just didn't understand how to keep a stitch count. So if I was going row to row to row, it wouldn't triangle. Or it wouldn't, what is this? I don't know, rectangle. Yes? I could never understand why I couldn't get a blanket to go straight. And understanding your stitches and how to see them on the front side and the back side, and understanding that they're backwards should be obvious, right? But if you make your blankets go in or go out instead of going straight up and down, that's it. That's the issue right there, is how is your understanding of the stitches and which stitch to go into. Okay, so I hope you learned something, like I said, and at least we had some fun playing around and making some weird thing. All right, enjoy. I have the pattern for the rat up, or not the rat, the flea, and I hope you check it out. Thank you so much for visiting, and we will see you next time.